Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Please come. Come into the room. God is able. God is able. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Morning, 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 morning. Morning, morning. Greetings. I invite you to click like and share. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Greetings, greetings. I invite you to click like and share. Mm-hmm. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Mm-hmm. Good morning, Antoinette. Good morning, Barbara and Leah. Good morning. Mm-hmm. Good morning, good morning. Live over here. Just clicking. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Marquita and to Rihanna and to DigiDeacon Legalese. Please, Natasha. Good morning over on YouTube. I see you all. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, cuz Maurice Deuce. Hey. Hey, Dr. Jamie. Good morning to you. Jessica Langley. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in, y'all. Come on in, come on in. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Yolanda, Devon, and Glency. Hey, Quelly Quell. Good morning, Tamara or Tamara. Hope I'm saying, oh, that's Tam. Hey, girl. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Kanita. Jamie, what's up, good brother? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I need thee. Good morning, Sonia. Oh, I need thee. Good morning, Mel Chris. Good morning, Renee. Every hour I need thee. Bless me now, our Savior. We come. Come on, y'all. Click like and share it. To thee. I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour we need thee. Oh, bless us now, our Savior. We come, hallelujah, to thee. I just want to say it again. We need thee, oh, we need thee. Every hour we need thee. My. We need thee. Oh, we need thee. Yeah. My. Every hour we need thee. Oh, bless us now, our Savior. We come to thee. Good morning, you all. Good morning, good morning, good morning to the community. For those for whom this is your first time being in gathering with us, this is the Pink Robe Chronicles, a digital dish harbor, a spiritual gathering where we have an opportunity to observe the holy in an uninhibited way. I am the Reverend Dr. Melva L. Sampson. I am your digital griot, the one who reminds us of our history, of our space and place, that challenges the location, the politics of location and space. I do believe and trust the people generally and trust Black women specifically. I invite you to this space to bring with you an open mind, to bring with you an open heart, to feel, to think, to dream, and to imagine. We are here every Sunday, 8 a.m.-ish, where we stream live on Facebook and YouTube. If this is your first time, why don't you just type your name or send some kind of emoji or send a heart up in the chat so that our community can welcome you. Upon the end of this broadcast, many of our community members go over to what we call the clearing that our enslaved ancestors founded spaces nearby the varying plantations where they were owned. They found and developed their own spaces to engage in their cultural and religious rights beyond the gaze of those who own them. So when we end the broadcast, look out for the link. I'm on Rondi. If people are saying they cannot find me this morning, give me 1 second. Hold on. Let me just respond to this. Hold on, y'all. If you're getting, this just speaks to, this just speaks to the need for space. Good morning, Carmen and Tierra and Regina and Dr. Paula and Miranda and Carmen White and Tamil and Winter to Haji Darla. Good morning. This really just speaks to the need for space. Let me just say a word about folks not being able to find me. I'm not sure what's happening with the algorithm, how often the algorithm changes. Another thing that is happening is that my lives have been getting flagged for copyright infringement. Of course, I've not used music on lives probably in more than a year. And so I'm wondering if they're flagging my reading of the text of other folks' texts as copyright infringement. So parts of the lives are muted along with folks not being able to find me. Yet this is why, when we leave this space, we go to the clearing. And so look for the Zoom link before we end. I just usually put it up at some point at which you have to be paying attention to get it. So we welcome you to come over to the clearing once we end this broadcast, where we talk back to the text, where we engage a little bit deeper and just a little bit more of an intimate digital space. So I welcome you. Friends, I want to share with you on this morning. I think I typed in "get your medicine." Two more things. Shout out to all the birthday people this morning, to our community's Levon Proverbs, who is turning 40. Has turned 40 today. We give thanks for you, and may God and the Spirit and the ancestors rise up to greet you on this day as you celebrate Such a phenomenal time in your life, such a significant number of 40, Ashe. Happy birthday also to Tarsha Bannister, and to all of you who are celebrating very important milestones in your life. Continued prayers for our dear sister Maya McCoy and her son Xavier. It was a hard week for Xavier. Young Xavier has been diagnosed with cancer and has been going through chemo, and he had an extremely hard week this week, which means his mom and his dad and those who care for him had an extremely hard week. Continue prayers for our sister, Dr. Tawana, as she continues to fight, Ashe, and to fight this battle with cancer. And for all of us and for all of those. I tagged on here, get your medicine. And I'm not quite sure where it will take us. If I can just be honest with us as a community and also be a model. I'm so full and was so full on yesterday that I just had to really come home and go to sleep. I had to go to sleep. And I set my alarm for I set my alarm for a time that would give me enough time to get up and prepare and hear, because I'd been thinking about something all week that I wanted to share, and I slept right through it. And then I said, well, maybe I will just, go ahead and just say there's no PRC today. And I often stop myself from doing that, not because I'm a workaholic, or just that I don't have self-care practices. None of that is the case. The case is because I understand how important community is. And for some of us, we go all week long without being in community. And this space for us, it rejuvenates us. It brings us life and hope. And I often don't want us to go another week without having hope, without having encouragement, without being in community. For some of us, it is a lifeline. And what that has also done, if I can be, honest, what that has also done for me is that it means that it's not always... This is quite interesting, y'all. Ashe. Now there's like some kind of bot on my PRC timeline that's like in every PRC that we have probably ever done, and it just keeps coming up. I'm gonna keep moving though, Ashe. I'm gonna keep moving. And so what I didn't want to stop me is, this sense of feeling. I've talked about this before, and it keeps coming up, so I want to keep drilling down. For those of us who preach, for those of us who offer a word, we have been trained, if I can help us, we have been trained to believe that sitting deeply with the gospel text is the only way, or one of the primary ways, that we receive revelation. And it is the primary text through which we are able to offer a word of hope or a word of encouragement to our people. And as a result of that, if we can just tell the truth this morning, I need some folk who want to tell the truth with me on this morning. As a result of that, some of us do the work that we do under great stress, under great exhaustion. RG, I'm glad you found me on YouTube. Listen, you all, tell your friends, if they cannot find the broadcast, just go to YouTube under Pink Robe Chronicles. We are streaming live simultaneously there. And so as a result of that, we often find ourselves overwhelmed because we, believe that we have to. We've been trained. We get talked about. We get dragged on social media. Those folks who love to drag you, Ashe, who drag you to say, if your folks ain't bringing you a word, shut up. That's what I'm always saying. Shut up, right? Because it does not help us. It does not give us the medicine that we need. And so instead of just saying, well, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, If it is true that we are the living word, come on, Holy Ghost. If it is true that we acknowledge Yeshua as the living word via God, and we lean into the promise, the power, and the purpose. There it is right there, the promise, the power, and the purpose. There go 3 points right there. If indeed, Leah, we lean into that, then it means that we too are the living word. And if indeed we are the living word, then we ought to be able to reach into our bodies, to reach into ourselves, to reach to various texts, to offer a word of encouragement. Yeah. So I just want to free us as I free myself this morning, amen, from that particular need. And you will often hear me keep coming back to this place to hear for myself that it is okay for me to deliver how I deliver. It is okay for me to acknowledge that it's already in me. Ashe. It is okay for me to riff. Yes. It is a spiritual technology to riff. Particularly coming from ancestors who could not even read a particular text. And for those who memorized the text, did not memorize it perfectly to the point that they could regurgitate it the same way they heard it, but needed to remix it, needed to remix it to fit their circumstance, needed to readjust it, needed to riff off of. So I just want to riff, Carmen, if that's all right. I want to riff this morning. If that's all right, if that's all right. Some of us need to be free enough to riff. Some of us need to be free enough to come off of the manuscript of our lives. The manuscript that we've set for our lives, Ashe. The manuscript that we'd written down some time ago, and then things began to change, which meant that the manuscript should have changed, or the words on the manuscript should have changed, or the action or the direction should have changed. But we were weary, or we were fearful of what happens when the manuscript changes. And so we have stayed stuck to that manuscript. We've stayed tied to that manuscript, even though the direction of our lives has changed. Even though everything in us is telling us to do this differently, to go off script. I put in the chat that the title for this is Get Your Medicine. And that is because on yesterday, Pink Robe Chronicles, in partnership with the Katie Geneva Cannon Center for Womanist Leadership, did a pilgrimage to the gravesite of Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon, and we called it In Search of Cannon's Gardens. In Search of Cannon's Gardens. Now, I'm only going to give you a little bit of what happened because it was sacred space. And I am a believer that sacred space needs to stay in sacred space because it gets lost in translations. Like, for instance, I was so happy to see all of my siblings in Chicago. Oh, I wasn't there to see them at Chicago. I was unable to attend for the Black Church Summit. And I could see by all of your posts that my colleague in the ministry, Reverend Raquel Gill, must have preached the shingles off the roof, Ashe. That folks were just posting one after the other. And we do that, and that's good. It reminds the preacher, or it helps affirm the preacher and lets the preacher know that the assignment was completed and affirmed. The other part of that, though, is that for those of us who are not there, it leaves us salivating, and it leaves us wondering and wanting to know, dang, well, is it alive? Did anybody get the recording? Let me see it. Where can I find it? And it gives us this sensibility of that we've missed out on something. And for me, in some ways, it takes the sacred value that you shared with folks in community, in space, away. Right? And so I'm not going to give you every single thing that happened on yesterday, not in this space, because a lot of what we need to do right now, because of the way of the world, we need to do in clearings, Ashe. So I want to encourage us is when you are in a clearing, Ashe, when you in a clearing and when you are experiencing it, let the experience stay right there for those who were there, Ashe. For those of you who were there, it was for you. If you were there, it was for you. Ashe. And so I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative of what happened on yesterday. But in honor of the sacred container that was opened on yesterday, I will not share all. I will share some of the points that I have been reflecting on. And so the text that I have for us today comes from the Reverend Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon. From her text, from the introduction, page 1 of the introduction, Katie's Cannon. Lord, there's so many words in this. Come on, Spirit. Katie's Cannon. For those of you who get it, for those of you who know what a canon is, and I'll come back at some point and explain that, because I know that we have people at different spaces and ages and stages on this live. But for those of you who know what the sacred canon is, and how revolutionary it is for Dr. Katie Cannon to title a text Katie's Canon, should be setting us free right there. Listen to a word. My grandmother, Rosa Cornelia White Little, was the gatekeeper in the land of counterpain. She was always available with salves, hot towels, and liniments to cure physical aches and spiritual ills. As a charismatic healer, Grandma Rosie's practice consisted of diagnosis, treatment, and prevention in the maintenance of overall wholeness. Many days, Dr. Cannon writes, my soul struggled with whether to go to school or stay home and be healed from the injuries the world inflicted unknowingly, end quote. It is the woman's charge to go into the wound of injustice to retrieve our individual and our collective medicine. So before I go any further, let's deal with this term medicine. My goodness. Medicine, according to Oxford Dictionary, medicine is the science or practice of the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease. Medicine is also a compound or preparation used for the treatment or prevention of disease. And this says especially drugs or a drug taken by mouth. I want to, and the things that medicine cures are to cure illnesses, anti-anxiety, and a whole list of other things here. So I'm going to read it again, the definition that I'm using today. A compound or preparation used for the treatment or prevention of dis-ease. A compound or practice or prevention. So a compound, a practice, a preparation used for the treatment, the diagnosis, or the prevention of dis-ease. Are we on the same page? Let me come back to it. A compound, a practice, or preparation used for the treatment, the prevention, or the diagnosis of a dis-ease. Come on, somebody just type amen and let me know. Let me know that you are there. Ashe. Ashe. We're together. We're together. Okay. So now that we are on the same page. Yes, Leah, you hear how I'm saying it. Of a dis-ease. Well, let's do this. Now that we have that, hold on. Just be patient, y'all. We're riffing, Ashe. We are riffing. Let's go to see what a disease is. One definition is a disposition. A disposition regarded as adversely affecting a person or group of people. So the technical sort of scientific definition of disease is a disorder of structure. Woo! My gosh. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Ooh, 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 ooh. Y'all, I'm getting so many downloads. And one of them is the affirmation of affirming myself, of saying, of standing in myself, in my own witness, and saying it's okay to riff. The treasures, the chunks, the jewels that I just literally found because I freed myself to riff and not to stay bound to the manuscript of life, or that others have provided for me, or that others or other systems said that I must follow. My goodness. Disease, a disorder of structure or function in human, animal, or plant, especially one that produces specific signs or symptoms, or that affects a specific location and is not simply a direct result of physical injury. A particular quality disease. What? Wow. Defining disease as a particular quality, habit, or disposition regarded as adversely affecting a person or group of people. Let's go back to the top one. So if medicine is a compound, the preparation or the practice of a diagnosis or treatment or prevention of a disease. The disease is the disorder of structure or function, or disposition. Okay, are we all on the same page? We have got to set this up. We have got to set this up. My goodness. So let's go back and read it again. It is the woman's charge to go into the wound of injustice to retrieve our individual and collective practice, to attend to diagnose and to treat and or prevent, to get our medicine. Our medicine is that with which we do our work. Particular ways of knowing and being that make it logical, as Dr. Cannon received from Zora Neale Hurston, to hit a straight lick with a crooked stick. Further, our medicines are the literal and figurative capacities our ancestors embodied and practiced to counter pain. Further, this is my definition now. Our medicines are the literal and figurative capacities, those practices, right? Those preventions that our ancestors embodied and practiced to counter pain. The constant search for space and place in society that refuses to see your humanity as sacred and your gifts as necessary has caused many to forget about the potency and utility of our medicine. I'm going to run it back. The constant search for space and place in society that refuses to see your humanity as sacred and your gifts as necessary has caused many of us to forget exactly how potent, how useful our own medicine is. As a result, then, this temporary loss of memory, this loss of memory about our medicine, about seeing ourselves as being able to heal, has created a void in our spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical lives. The diagnosis, then, what is the diagnosis, medicine woman? The diagnosis is lethargy. The diagnosis is justice fatigue. The diagnosis is imposter syndrome. The diagnosis is not believing that we are enough. The diagnosis is adaptation of hegemonic and anti-Black and homophobic and transphobic and misogynistic and patriarchal practices that are most visible in our processes of perceived progress. Let me run that back because that was a lot of alliteration. Our diagnosis that is a result of our temporary memory loss. And that memory loss has created a void within us that would tell us that we don't have any spiritual power. And our spiritual power is the root of our power. That we don't have the ability to heal ourselves and our collective. That even when we are in the midst of the diagnosis, that we, yes, rely on Western medicine, but we can't ever forget that there is a medicine, my goodness, that is deep within the tissues, deep within our bodies, deep within our psyche, deep within our spirits, that we have the ability to call on when we get to rubbing that hands and our hands and warming that energy in our hands and laying them upon it has created a temporary memory loss. That void then that suggests that the only power we have comes in the form of the God or the presence or the power of the Spirit that the ones who owned our ancestors gave them. That's crazy, right? And so as a result, we have forgotten. We are in a moment of temporary memory loss. And so the result of that memory loss is what I'm calling falling out of grace. I'm going to get to it in a second. Falling out of grace. But the diagnosis is lethargy. The diagnosis is justice fatigue. And it is not believing that we are enough. And when we don't believe that we are enough, when we are unable to see that we are enough by seeing the necessary images and mirrors, then we adapt and or adopt tragic systems that not only trap us but trap others. We become sub-oppressors. We adopt these hegemonic systems. We preach from hegemonic pulpits. These anti-black, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, patriarchal practices become our norm. And these practices are most visible where? In processes of perceived progress. Melva, what is a process of perceived progress? These practices become most visible in these processes of promotion. Processes of promotion that value your promotion based on what you can produce. And so we deepen the wound that is caused by the need to produce, but not producing our futures, but a type of a commercialized production, almost at the type of production that is attached to chattel slavery. Wherein our ancestors who did not produce enough cotton, who did not pick enough cotton for the day, were subject to being lashed, were subject to being beaten. And so we have a very, very challenging connection to this idea of production and producing as Black people in the globe, in the world, and absolutely here in the not yet United States of America. And so this idea of producing, of production, detaches us from our medicine. And so we forget our ability to First of all, we forget our ability to prevent. We forget our ability to diagnose and to treat. And so Dr. Cannon's this citation here, this epigraph here, where she calls the name of her grandmother, Rosa Cornelia White Little, as being the gatekeeper in the land of counter pain, as being the gatekeeper in the space of countering pain, of working against the pain. I'm simply saying that in 2018, at the inaugural Cannon Conference, Alice Walker shared to us after reading Zora Neale Hurston that she realized that we needed to go into the wound to get our medicine. And I am saying that we have forgotten what our medicine is. And how do we get it back is that we need to call on the spirits. We need to honor those spirits. And in honoring those spirits, we need to call out their attributes because their attributes will help us get our medicine back. We all on the same page? Are we all on the same page? My goodness. Are we all on the same page? My. Let me just check and make sure that we are here. We are here. Processes. Yes, Dr. E.T. Hari Torre. Let's go back to processes for a minute before we move any further. Processes that Dr. Torre has so rightfully claimed, my mother in the spirit and ritual, processes that value elitism. Yeah. You lose yourself and your medicine in these processes. And this is why you don't feel that you're enough. This is why you are always working to the next level to try to get to this level. Because when I get to this level, I'm going to do this. And then when I get to this, it's never enough. Because elitism is always about you not appreciating the value where you are. You are always seeking to go higher. And somehow going higher has been tied to this idea of Black excellence. But Black excellence, if I can just talk about it for a minute, Black excellence is really tied to our inability to deconstruct. Folk would suggest that Black excellence is about deconstructing, so that we can do. Or maybe we are constructing our own values, but how can you construct a value that is deemed that needs the faulty system to validate it? Black excellence only works because this system is problematic. Come on, y'all. Y'all don't hear me though. You don't hear me though. And so when we see things that are of beauty, when we see things that are simply profound, when we see things that leave our mouths open because of the ingenuity, creative ingenuity being one of the attributes, okay? When we see things that represent that, we instantly go to Black excellence. But we don't see that ain't Black excellence. That's just the way we are. That's inherent excellence. That's already who we are. That's how we operate. That's who we've been. That's why we were captured, for who we've been, for the technologies that we've always garnered and had. Black excellence in a context of capitalism, in a context of evangelicalism, is simply slavery. Because you become a slave to the story that enslaved you in the first place so that you can work opposite of it instead of just working from the position where you already are. Black excellence then sets you up to believe you have to prove yourself and prove your humanity. And the minute that this system of elitism fails or neglects your humanity, then you are reduced to feeling that you are not enough and you lose your medicine. My God. And you lose your medicine temporarily. Mama Sabonfu says that you fall out of grace. She says this about that. Woo! That thing is in me. Ha! Jesus. Come on, ancestors. Ashe. Woo! My. That thing is in me. Woo! You can't make something excellent that is already excellent. Hey, you can't make it excellent. Let me tell you something. So many of us have died on the vine trying to be excellent, according to systems that are not excellent. according to systems that are not excellent. Aisha Renee, I speak your name, sis, this morning. You are circling heavily around me. I speak your name. Aisha Renee Curry, I speak your name. I speak your name. Ashe, Ashe. Mm, mm. Aisha Renee was and remains a brilliant Black woman. Experienced some challenges, as we all have and do. A brilliant, simply brilliantly educated person. She was a doctoral student with me and with my sisters Alana Jefferson and Alexis Wells Agugame and others of us at Emory University. Aisha Renee was already excellent. And right before one phase of the program, she died by suicide. And she left for those of us who were in community this 53-page manifesto, if you will. And basically, to sum it up, it was that she was tired of having to prove her excellence. And in this document that only a handful of us received, she indicted the system, and she also indicted professors who participated in that system, who had become a part of the process of elitism and called it preparation and called it training. She talked about how isolating this attempt at excellence was. She talked about the ways that this ideation of excellence chipped away at her being. She put the system on notice, charged it, indicted it, and overall found it guilty. In some ways, I see her decision, and I see her decision to die by suicide as a retrieval. I acknowledge this is a marginal opinion, but as a retrieval, because most would see that as a stopping the pain. I saw it, and even till this day, see it a little as a retrieval of this power that attempting to be excellent took from her. That even in death, she would retain agency to determine, if we were use the words Beyonce sings, "You won't break my soul," to determine when and where she entered, Anna Julia Cooper. And so I speak her name, that her presence is here, and she wants me to speak her name, Ashe, for us to know just how much our attempt to be excellent in a system that is not excellent taps on our souls. Now, I want you to hear me for those in the back. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do, good work. I'm saying that you got to check your intention for why you're doing good work. Because if the only reason that you are doing good work is to be twice as good as, or better than, or so that you can show them, or so that the world can see, then our intention is already off. Our intention is off because we don't do the work for that. We do the work to extract the medicine and then to diagnose and to treat and even prevent the dis-ease, which is a structural problem. Come on, y'all. Here's somebody. Come on. Woo! 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 My God, today. So, we need to call on the attributes of our ancestors, particular ones who displayed what we need to help us get our medicine. Oh, Lord, we already at 9 o'clock. My goodness. Are y'all with me? I'm going to get our clearing together so that we can go over Ashe. Are y'all with me? Because we need to get our medicine. We need to get our medicine. My. We need to get, I want you to just type where this is hitting for you. Type where this is hitting for you. We need to get our medicine. Ashe. Ashe. We need to get our medicine. We need to get, come on, our medicine. Yeah. My word. Get our medicine. Now something, Ashe, here we go. Get our medicine. Ashe. 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 Now we're going to go over to the clearing to talk a little bit more about what this medicine is. Ashe. Ashe. For those of you who are coming into the clearing, I welcome you. And for those of you who will be departing here and we will not see you in the clearing, peace be with you on this week. I want to invite you to consider it is this time of the year for us to give out our annual book scholarships through the Cariel L. Das Memorial Scholarship Fund. Cariel, as we affectionately called her, L. Das, was my cousin. She was murdered in 2020 when she was in the 12th grade. Did not have an opportunity to attain the dream of going to college. And so we'd already been giving out book scholarships. And so we renamed it from the Pink Road Chronicles Book Scholarship Fund to the Cariel Das Memorial Scholarship Fund. I'm inviting you to give toward that. We need to raise between $1,500 and $2,000 so that we can provide a minimum of a $500 book scholarship to between 3 and 4 young women. I have already identified those women: one from Virginia Union, two from Virginia Union, and I believe 2 from Spelman. I have also added. This year, I have been, what's the word that I want to use? Oh, shoot. When you do something on purpose, intentional, I say. I have been intentional. It has always been sort of implied and implicit, but I have been explicit now and intentional about making sure that those who get this, that one of them identifies either publicly or not, doesn't have to be publicly, but that identifies as a queer person. It is my commitment, my attempt to be in community with all parts of our community. And that means making sure that everyone gets what they need. So you can give either by giving to Pink Robe Chronicles on PayPal. You can also give to our Venmo, which is, I'm typing in the chat on Facebook, and I'll get over to, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, our Venmo is Melva-Sampson. Melva-Sampson. For those of you who use Zelle, you can use the email Dr. Melva Sampson at gmail.com, Dr. Melva Sampson at gmail.com. I'm coming over here to put the Venmo tag in for those of you who give via Venmo. Ashe, I'm also putting the Zelle for those of you who give via Zelle. Thank you, Natasha. She done got to it before I can, but I'm going to still type it over here. And for those of you who, okay, there you go. All right. So I invite you, please, 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 please assist us. It was started so that we can assist, again, young Black women who are attending specifically historically Black colleges and or universities. This is year 4 that we are doing it, and I solicit your assistance. I want to be able to deliver this to them in the next 2 weeks so that they can purchase their books, and I cannot do it without you. So I want to thank you in advance, those of you who will share and those of you who will give. Any amount assists and helps and aids. So again, thank you in advance. Peace, y'all. I love you so much. I'm headed on over to